call you. Usually, I'm talking about sales process and frameworks and repeatability and scalability and all those things that comes to ramping up and scaling up a startup. Those things are always important. And something else that's pretty important that kind of came up this week is I was doing a keynote talk for one of our clients. They're doing their sales kickoff this week, and they said, "Hey, can you come in and do a keynote talk and just give everybody a little inspiration, a little motivation?" One of the questions that came up after the talk from the client, one of the people in the room, they said, like, how do you keep clients engaged in a sales call? How do you keep clients engaged in a sales process? Because everybody's doing lots of things. They got lots of priorities. They got lots of things they're working on in their business. And sometimes it's hard to keep them to keep meetings or to book a meeting or even in a sales call. How do we keep their attention so that we know that they're like focusing on the whole purpose of having the meeting in the first place? And I thought about that for a moment or two. And the easiest answer that I came to is just to remember who you're talking to, which is another human being, another person. And the way I explained it to our client in that keynote is like and I just use myself all the time as an example, right? I'm just one of 7+ billion people in the world, and all of us out there have all kinds of different stuff going on. I mean, I'm sitting in a place personally where like even my problems that might be mostly inconvenient are pretty much negligible compared to what most people in the world are going on or have going on. But I said, look, let's take my situation right now. If I just look back over this past month, okay? So going back into late December, you come out of the holidays. During the holidays, we had, and this is just like stuff going on in my life, okay? So we have two cats as pets, and both of them had a certain treatment that needed to be done that was basically a radiation treatment. So we had to get two cats to a cat hospital. They had to stay for a week, and then we had to bring them home, keep them isolated because they're radioactive for a period of time. So we had to like deal with that on top of holiday stuff, like an inconvenience, not a big deal, but something to deal with, right? On January 2nd, I tested positive for COVID. Fortunately, again, very mild case. I'm vaccinated and boosted and all of those things. I'm a very healthy person. Didn't hit me very hard. It was mostly a chest, kind of like a chest cold. But like now I have to isolate for 2 weeks in my own house for 10 days in my office, which is a big burden for my wife because she has her full-time job as a PhD economist. She's a flight instructor teaching people how to fly airplanes. We own 2 horses that she has to take care of. We have a 9-year-old son that she now has to be the person that gets him breakfast, takes him to school, picks him up from school, gets him to soccer practice because I can't even do soccer practice. And then we add on the soccer thing where I'm the soccer coach of my son's team. And because I have COVID, I have to work with the assistant coach and make sure he has what he needs in order to run practice. And we have to change around the practice schedule because I'm not there and he can't run practices on some of the days that I can run practice. So I got to like deal with all of that stuff. Again, an inconvenience, but not a big thing. Something that's I got to sort of like work with and deal with every day. We're changing around our soccer schedule because of COVID situations with kids in contact and kids who may have COVID. And then we got to like shift all that around and follow all those protocols. I'm responsible for that because I'm the coach of this soccer team. On the business side of things, we got lots of cool things happening. We're hiring a couple people right now. We've had a couple people on our team internally that are changing roles through promotions and shifting their roles and responsibilities around. The people on my team all have stuff going on in their personal lives that they shared with me and shared with our head of operations, Amy. I'm not going to share them with you, but I'm now have to help them, be supportive of them and support them through their personal issues and make sure that they have what they need in order to be able to focus on work when it's time to focus on work. Our head of operations has got stuff going on in her personal life. She's got 2 kids and they're doing some remodeling in their house. So she's got to like work from the basement and everybody's shifting around. And so you just like, any of us could sit down and write a list of stuff that's going on right now. Like my truck needs an oil change. It keeps beeping at me every time I get in the car, like oil change required. I haven't even called the dealership to get an appointment booked. And I've needed to do that for 3 weeks. There's just like all this little stuff, which for me, again, big picture, not a big deal, just minor inconveniences of life. But if you just think about yourself, you probably have that list. Your prospects have that list. At best, it's only a list like I have. Pets are sick. dealing with kids at school, maybe somebody in their family or themselves have had a mild case of COVID. Like that's all kind of like at best. At worst, they could have spouses, parents, kids with significant cases of COVID or other health issues that aren't even related to COVID. Many of us are dealing with another round of lockdowns or trying to deal with personal situations where we maybe haven't seen family in a couple of years. It's just like all of these things are happening every day. And so when your prospect is there on the call and it's a Zoom meeting and they seem a little distracted, maybe it's not personal. Like maybe it's not personally on you that they're distracted. Maybe it is personal, but it's personal for them. They've got stuff going on. And I just want you to, like, I'm sharing this just because from a selling standpoint, I mean, I think we always have to remember, we have to remember that whether we're doing a cold call and we're interrupting somebody's day and they seem a little bit annoyed, or it's a product demo and the key people that you were expecting to be there weren't there because they double booked for some other reason, or they had some fire pop up in the business. Like we just don't really know what's going on with other people. And so I would encourage any of us, all of us, to just be patient and just understand that. We talk about empathy as part of the sale. And I think there's varying degrees of empathy. One is to just be empathetic when people are talking to you about their business problems and trying to understand what it means for them around their professional life. And then there's a whole other level of empathy, which is just like be human. When there is no human being that is a family that you're texting or emailing or communicating with, and a different kind of human being that happens to be your prospect. Just because somebody is your prospect doesn't mean they're not human and they don't have the same stuff going on. So just keep that in mind. When you call a prospect, that prospect is probably a lot like you. That person is probably a lot like somebody in your family that's got all of these things happening every single day. I think the more we do that, it should just reduce this anxiety that we've got to make a sales call perfectly. We got to book the meeting. We got to like really push hard on the call. Just listen to people. Just say like, how's your day going? When I know a lot of times, just when I talk to clients and I say, hey, how are things going? And they go, oh, things are going all right. Many times I'll follow up and go, okay, well, what do you mean by things are going all right? I mean, are they really going all right? Or is there something else going on? And then you ask that follow-up question. And oftentimes they'll tell me like, oh, the real situation is this. I got this going on at home, or I got this going on with our team, or I just found out that this person wasn't doing something they were supposed to do, or I just got off the phone with an investor and a little bit skittish. It was supposed to be a lead investor in this next round, and now they're not sure if they're going to lead the round, and I got to figure out what to do. Like this is the stuff that's happening. And so just when you get on the phone, when you talk to people or you're meeting them on Zoom, let's just try to be a little bit more human. Yeah, you got to be professional, and yeah, you got to have the meeting for the agenda for the meeting, and you got to do the things that are necessary to move the sale forward. That doesn't mean it's binary. It doesn't mean you can do that but can't be human. It doesn't mean you have to set the agenda and make sure they see the demo and not be a little empathetic about what they might be going on or going through. So that's it. It's just something that came up in this keynote talk. And when I shared that and I delivered that, what I saw a lot of people do, they're in a business meeting, they're in a conference room, and they're, in business sort of, body posture, and just talking to them, I could just see people in the room just kind of relax a little. They went from, we're going to listen to keynote talk from Scott and learn about business and sales to like, oh, it was like a sense of relief. Like, yeah, that's true. Stuff is happening to me. It is. I know there's people on my team that's happening to every single day. I know that they're dealing with things, and chances are our prospects are too. So that's it. That's my message. Be human, be empathetic, listen to people. It's not personal when they're ignoring you. Sometimes it is, but it is personal for them. It's not personal towards you. All right. Hope you're well. Have a good